Bev Lacey, who at the time was the president of the Fan District Association, said, "Oh, I hear you're looking for a space. Well, the city's leaving that old fire station down there near Lombardi and Broad. You might check that out." And we had been looking at all kinds of places, and this just seemed to work. There really was kind of a Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland, there's a firehouse, let's put on a show element to this, except we didn't have a sheet. I knew that having roots in an established structure was going to be important in one way for Richmonders to take us with a certain amount of seriousness.
And we decided at that first meeting at my house that when we decided we wanted to form a theater company, we said we were not going to do it without our own space. We had this building for the first, 5 years for no rent, no utilities. We were squatters here, and the city owned the building.
The cheapest city arts program that the city never funded, because they
didn't really know we existed.
They quasi knew we existed, but they had to keep the heat on to prevent the pipes from bursting, and they kept the electricity hooked up. But the very famous scene, you know, where was it Bill Gordon, who was our founding president, was making a presentation to the city manager, who was Bob at the time, and he was trying to explain to the mayor, well, they had share storage in there, and then I turn around and there's a theater. They're trying to explain. Next thing I know, there's a theater there.
Yeah.
That's how it all got started.
That's pretty much, yeah. And they were parking the health bus in here, and Bill would have to call them up and take the health bus out of the place.
We'd have to scrub all the oil off the floor.
Oh God, yeah. Scrape it up. Paint the floor.
After we were here all these years, the city, Broad Street started getting a little bit nicer, and the city decided this was probably their only piece of surplus property that they could sell. So they said they were going to put the building up for bid, and could we buy it? Well, we didn't have $80,000 to buy this building. And so Harry and I went on the radio and said we're going to be thrown out of the firehouse.
And we had 90 days to raise $80,000.
And Tim Kaine was the mayor at the time, and he said, "You can do it. You can raise $80,000." And we had $1,000 in the bank at the time. And we were doing a show called Four Dogs and a Bone. We probably produced that for $1,200. And Roy Sutton, a neighbor, heard us on the radio, came to the show, and Harry was giving a plea every night about, will somebody buy this building? And he came up to Harry at intermission and said,
How's the fundraising going? How's the fundraising going? And I kind of looked at my feet and I said, well, you know, we are getting letters of support, but so far, no real big money, but someone could walk through that door and change everything. And that's when he said, he's holding Coke in his hand at the time, he says, well, I'll buy the building for you. Just like that.
Well, now that we own the building, that's a good impetus for our fundraising to start getting the building into better shape. I think with a lot of the local foundations, grants, I think we're more eligible now.
Right. We'll be able to modernize some of our structures and some of our, you know, our light, our electricity and so forth and so on, and get the seats replaced, you know, replace those creaky steps behind the stage, and perhaps even redo the stage. You know, we've been talking about these plans for a while, and it's never, because we didn't own the building, we were limited as to how much and when and what we could ask for, and because there was that uncertainty. But now we own it, and it's all up to us.
We were formed by actors. All of us, all of the original founders were in acting class together, and that was our main focus, is to bring quality acting, American scripts, but also a real focus on the acting. And we still have acting classes here. We teach adult acting classes, and you're right, that's the one thing that we haven't always had great technical. The technical has been stepped up a lot now, but we always had quality acting.